Hey there, Jim Johnson for Accent Help here. And someone actually asked me about dropping G's, right? So it's really common. I feel like I'm going to drop some G's on y'all, right? So, one of the things that is really, really common in a lot of different accents, I do this in my casual speech all the time, is I drop my G's, going, doing, being, instead of saying going, doing, being, right? So it's commonly called dropping your G's, and some people call it lazy speech as well. Well, you're just not working as hard. That's lazy speech, and that's a load of crap. So the deal is when I say going, doing, being, it's represented in phonetics. So the IPA, it's represented by this symbol, which kind of looks like an N and a G had a baby, right? So that would be the end of a word like going, or a word like ring, sing, or thinker. Then it's got a K after it in that one, right? So that's that NG. The deal is when I say an NG, it's happening here at the back in the same place where I just did a K for thinker, thinking. The NG is happening with the back of the tongue coming up towards the soft palate, and it's stopping the airflow. Both my soft palate is lifted, closing off initially, or in different moments, closing off, like to do that thing. King. When I go into that K at the end of it, that soft palate closes off. But mostly when I'm doing an NG, that soft palate is open, thing. So I can just sustain it because my tongue is coming up to meet that soft palate and it's stopping the airflow and the sound flow through my mouth. So it's being forced through my nose. And that's what an NG is. And it's happening there at the back. Well, really similar is an N, which is a pretty straightforward symbol. It looks roughly like an N. So an N sound, as in going, that is happening because my tongue is coming up to meet the roof of my mouth a little further forward. Going there at the gum ridge, the alveolar or the alveolar gum ridge, right behind the teeth. That's where I commonly do it. There are some things that can happen kind of in between these where that NG happens a little further forward, especially for people who don't say think, but instead say think. When it's more of an E-like sound for the vowel, it's oftentimes because the NG for those people has kind of crept a little further forward. Now, the reality is, if I wanted to write it instead of as an NG, an N, and then a G, that would be instead of thing or thinking at the end, thinkin'. Or if I did this for a word like sing, it would turn into sing, sing. So now I'm going sing, which is really awkward to do because one's up here and one's back here. And this is why a lot of people, for example, for a combination of an N going onto a K, like in the word concrete, what I do in my casual speech is I shift it to an NG, concrete. It's made of concrete, because it's a hell of a lot easier to do it that way. So coming back to that topic of dropping a G or dropping a G, right? Going, doing, being, going, doing, being, going, doing, being. That's really awkward. Like I had to practice that for you. Actually, I'd practiced it enough before this because I'm a freaking dork. There you go. So the deal is some people call that lazy speech, and that's bullshit because the reality is I'm doing the same number of sounds. So to call that lazy speech is just stupid. It's a different way of saying the word. And besides that, do you know what the hell I said? Well, the odds are really good that you do. So get over yourself and just realize there's more ways to speak than the right way that you think is the right way, but it's actually just one of the ways to speak. I feel like I've just been chastising you, and I'm probably not even talking to you. I'm probably talking to someone else, right? So it's not lazy speech, it's just a different mode of operating. And I do find that most working class accents around the world that are native speakers of English, the whole shifting to the N instead of the NG, what people commonly call you drop your G's, that's super duper common throughout all kinds of working class accents all around the country, the US, all around the UK. It's very common in other English speaking places like South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. So it happens all over the place for working class speakers primarily. So there you go. That's an element of accents that is sometimes a little bit misunderstood. If you want to learn more about a variety of accents for actors, you can find over 50 different sets of accent training materials at accenthelp.com.